So yesterday, some of us waited till midnight, right, to see if the President of the United States, Donald Trump, was going to wipe out Iran from the surface of the earth as he had earlier promised. You remember he would say, I give 24 hours. After that, he would say, I've extended it to 48 hours. After that, he would say, I've extended it to 5 days. And then the other day, he gave 48 hours. And after 48 hours elapsed, he extended it to 2 weeks. Not only this time did he extend, but it came at a cost. And this is to tell you that Iran has won this war. And I'm going to prove to you how they won. Because one thing people need to understand, especially those colonized minds, is that dropping bombs discriminately doesn't win wars. A war is won with strategy. And that is what Iran came into this war with. They came with strategy, not with brutality. And they ended up holding the so-called bullies by their balls. And they had no choice than to bow to their claims. Now, Iran agreed to the 2-week ceasefire with 10-point agenda. And I'm going to outline these 10 points. At the end, you will tell me if truly Iran now won or not, right? Point number 1. Iran agreed to the ceasefire on condition that they would continue to control the Strait of Hormuz. And remember, going through the Strait of Hormuz, now you have to pay a toll. And the toll is an equivalent of $2 million. And that would be paid in Chinese yuan. Who is losing? The petrodollar or Iran? Point number 2. All U.S. troops would have to completely leave the entire Middle East region. Point number 3. Terminate all resolution with the UN Security Council and the IAEA. Remember that those were some resolutions that kept strings on Iran's nuclear program, which means that with this resolution terminated, Iran doesn't need anyone to boss them out. Iran doesn't need anyone to control them. They don't need anyone to tell them how to enrich their uranium or not. Point number 4, Iran would definitely have to pursue their nuclear program. Point number 5, Iran would continue their uranium enrichment. Remember, till now they are at 60%, and once it hits 80%, they can produce a nuke. With all these points, you still think that the US won? Point number 6, Iran would have to continue to pursue their missile program, meaning that they need to keep improving. They need to keep building missiles that may one day even hit any angle of this war. That is one of the conditions that Iran gave to cease fire. Some of you guys have no idea what Iran really is. Point number 7, all primary and secondary sanctions must be lifted. Every sanction that was ever meted on Iran must be lifted. Remember, when the war got to a point, the United States had lifted some sanctions. Iran is saying that is not enough. You have to lift every single sanction that you ever meted on us. Point number 8, you are going to agree that you will never attack us again. That was one of the conditions for them to cease hostilities. Point number 9, you would also have to stop attacking other countries in the Middle East. You know, countries like Lebanon, countries like Gaza, countries like Afghanistan. The US and their partner, Blue State, would have to cease any form of aggression against all these countries in the Middle East. You see how Iran has indirectly saved even the wicked neighbors, right? Those who offered their bases to come attack them. Iran is indirectly saving their asses. And finally, point number 10, the United States would have to pay huge reparations to Iran for all what they ever put Iran through. The sanctions for 47 years, all the attacks, all the hostilities. And remember, Donald Trump in his recent post said that the points Iran submitted are acceptable points. That is what Donald Trump is telling you. They have no choice. If they don't agree to Iran's point, there wasn't going to be any stop in hostilities. And bombing civilian infrastructure wasn't going to stop anything. Now, I throw it back to those colonized brains, those who have been completely carried away by Delta Force movies, Commandos movies, and all of that. Do you think these 10 points, which the United States had no choice but to accept, were a joke? Do you think that those points were coming from someone who is being defeated? Do you think those points were coming from someone who is weak? I advise you again, the earlier you free your brains from all those Hollywood movies, the better for you. Viva Iran.